Blood of Zeus is an awesome show that brings Greek mythology to life in a bold and exciting way. The story is full of action, powerful gods, scary monsters, and tough heroes who must fight to survive. The animation looks great, and every scene feels alive and full of energy. The show gives classic myths a fresh twist that keeps viewers curious about what will happen next. The battles are intense, the characters feel real, and the world is rich with detail. It is the kind of series that pulls you in fast and makes you want to watch the next episode right away. If you enjoy stories about gods, legends, or action, then this show is a must-watch. The animation quality is top-notch. Every scene is smooth, clear, and full of detail. The action looks powerful, and the movement feels natural. The colors stand out and help bring the world of gods and monsters to life. It is the kind of animation that makes the story feel bigger and more exciting, and it keeps your eyes locked on the screen the whole time. The character designs are nice. Each character has a clear look that fits their role and personality. The heroes look strong and brave, the gods look powerful and grand, and the villains have a style that makes them stand out right away. The details in the armor, clothing, and faces help bring each character to life. It makes the world feel rich and complete, and it adds a lot to the overall look of the show. The voice acting is excellent. Each actor brings real emotion to the role and makes every character feel alive. The voices match the personalities of the heroes, the gods, and the villains in a very strong way. You can hear the energy in every scene, from calm moments to big battles. The cast helps the story feel real and makes the world even more exciting to watch. The writing is really good. It is based on Greek mythology, but the story is entirely original, so it feels new and fresh. The show keeps the spirit of the old myths, but it also adds its own ideas, surprises, and twists. The plot moves at a steady pace, the characters have clear goals, and the drama feels real. Every episode pulls you in more and makes you want to see what happens next. For fans of Greek mythology, this show is a must-watch. It captures the heart of the old stories while giving you something new to enjoy. You will see familiar gods, creatures, and legends, but in a way that feels exciting and fresh. It shows the power, danger, and wonder of the ancient world, and it does it with great care. If you enjoy tales of heroes, gods, and epic battles, this series will give you everything you are looking for. Season 1 was really good, but Season 2 is even more epic. The action is bigger, the stakes are higher, and the story goes in bold new directions. You learn more about the world, the gods, and the characters you already care about. The battles look amazing, the drama hits harder, and every episode feels larger and more intense. Season 2 takes everything that worked before and pushes it to the next level. It shows how much the series has grown and why it is worth watching all the way through. Season 2 shows us more of the universe and introduces new exciting characters. You get to see new places, new groups, and new parts of the world that were not shown before. The new characters bring fresh energy to the story and add new challenges for the heroes. Each one has a clear purpose and helps the plot grow in interesting ways. This makes the world feel bigger, deeper, and even more fun to explore. Once you start watching, you will not want to stop, and you may end up binging the whole thing. The story pulls you in fast, the action keeps building, and every episode ends in a way that makes you want to see what comes next. It is the kind of show that grabs your attention and holds it from start to finish. Blood of Zeus is way better than Sword Art Online ever was and ever will be. Sword Art Online is a boring dumpster fire that drags its story in circles and never delivers on its own ideas. The pacing is weak, the plot falls apart, and the characters feel flat and lifeless. Blood of Zeus leaves it in the dust with stronger action, better writing, and a world that actually keeps your attention. There is no excitement from watching Sword Art Online. It is so boring and dull that it feels like nothing is ever happening. The story drags, the characters have no life, and the whole show feels empty. Blood of Zeus is way better in every way, with real action, real energy, and a story that actually keeps you watching. The writing in Sword Art Online is messy and full of plot holes. The story jumps around, important ideas are left unfinished, and many scenes make no sense at all. It feels rushed, confused, and poorly put together. Blood of Zeus is far stronger, with tighter writing, clearer goals, and a plot that actually respects the viewer. The Sword Art Online discussion can feel toxic and unwelcoming. Conversations can get tense, and it is hard to talk about the flaws of the show without people shutting the discussion down. This makes it difficult to share honest opinions or have a calm debate about what works and what does not. Blood of Zeus feels easier to talk about, since its strengths are much clearer and its fans are more open to discussing the story. It is better to avoid Sword Art Online if you want a strong and well-written series. The show has many problems, and the online discussions around it can make it hard to talk about its flaws. There are many much better shows out there that offer stronger stories. deeper characters, and a more enjoyable viewing experience. Trust me, you are not missing anything if you do not watch Sword Art Online. The show has so many weak moments that skipping it feels like a smart choice. I honestly wish I had not watched it, because it never lived up to the hype and left me disappointed from start to finish. Blood of Zeus gives you a far better experience with none of the wasted time. The choice could not be more simple. Watch Blood of Zeus and avoid Sword Art Online. Blood of Zeus gives you real action, real story, and real excitement, while Sword Art Online only wastes your time. This is an easy call for anyone who wants a better show.
Blood of Zeus Season 2 is an excellent follow-up to the first season. This breakdown highlights what makes it so impressive.
Episode 1. A Shadow Emerges.
The show opens with a quick recap of Season 1, which is a helpful refresher after the long break between seasons. The recap makes it easier to jump back in without confusion.
The long wait between seasons was due to production delays.
Now, Netflix often orders 2 seasons up front for some shows, allowing production to move faster and helping prevent future delays.
They buy 2 seasons up front, so there isn't that long gap between seasons 1 and season 2.
For the demons, the voice actors first recorded a regular version of the lines, followed by a deeper, gravelly take. The sound team mixed both versions to create the eerie, inhuman tone that makes the demons so unsettling.
The main demon, Seraphim, is voiced by an actor whose performance perfectly captures the character's intensity and menace. Given his own Greek heritage, his casting feels particularly fitting for a series steeped in Greek mythology. It's terrific to see actors who not only bring talent, but also share a personal connection to the culture and the stories their characters inhabit. Hades talks to Persephone about betrayal. It's a relevant discussion since betrayal is such a common theme in mythology. The voice actor for Hades delivers a powerful performance that really captures the character's intensity and presence.
Hades sends his minions to retrieve the Eleusinian stone from the temple of Zeus.
While the stone itself isn't from Greek mythology,
The name is a nod to the Eleusinian mysteries. These were secret religious ceremonies held in honor of Demeter and Persephone in Eleusis.
since both goddesses play major roles in this season, the name is a meaningful reference. Hades doesn't want Persephone to keep leaving him, which makes sense given their situation. As we later learn,
Persephone spends only part of the year in the underworld. The rest of her time is spent above.
bound to the underworld and unable to leave for long periods of time, Hades is understandably frustrated by the constant tug of war for his wife's presence between the two realms. Persephone has that classic goth girl look with the black clothes and black lipstick. As the queen of the underworld, it makes total sense that she'd go for a darker aesthetic. The black also creates a striking contrast with Persephone's blonde hair, making her stand out even more. Blonde hair is often linked to certain ideas in pop culture. People sometimes expect blondes to be cheerful, bubbly, or girly in a very traditional way. On the other hand, goth style is seen as dark, serious, mysterious, or even a bit spooky. When someone is both blonde and goth, they mix those two worlds in a way that surprises people. They show that you don't have to fit into one box. You can be soft and strong, happy and moody, bright and dark, all at the same time. The earliest recorded use of black lipstick dates back to around 4000 BC in ancient Egypt, where cosmetics were an important part of daily life and rituals. Given this history, black lipstick fits naturally in a show set in ancient times.
Ancient Greece often adopted customs from Egypt.
So it's likely they shared similar cosmetic practices, making the use of black lipstick there a plausible possibility as well. Persephone's voice actress delivers a standout performance, vividly bringing the character to life. Her talent is well established, with credits in numerous animated films and series,
including The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf,
and Dota Dragon's Blood. Persephone and Hades tell each other that when two souls are meant to be together, nothing can keep them apart.
It suggests that true love, or a deep bond between two people,
is stronger than any obstacle, whether it's distance, time, or even death. This echoes Aristotle's idea that love is composed of a single soul inhabiting two bodies, highlighting the deep, unbreakable bond between Persephone and Hades. Now it's simply called a Netflix series, instead of a Netflix original anime series like in the first season. They probably realize that it doesn't technically qualify as an anime, since it wasn't produced in Japan.
The supervising director has previously directed several other animated shows. He brings extensive experience and strong expertise to the project. The director of the first season wasn't able to return because he had moved on to DreamWorks and was working on from the Kung Fu Panda The Dragon Knight series. The minions are also able to teleport like Hades. The shadowy effect used in their teleportation animation is a nice touch,
enhancing the otherworldly vibe they carry.
The dark wisps and flickers of shadow make their movements feel unnatural and unsettling,
as if they're slipping through cracks in reality. This kind of visual cue helps reinforce their connection to the underworld
and sets them apart from the gods and mortals. It signals that they don't play by the same rules as everyone else. The teleporting also brings to mind the 2008 movie Jumper,
which is actually a very underrated film.
Just like in Season 1, the title cards for every episode are distinct and carefully designed to fit the events of that particular episode.
It's a fantastic detail that adds to the overall experience, setting the tone for what's to come
and building anticipation in a creative way. We return to the war for Olympus,
which took place in the final episode of the previous season.
But this time, it's from the perspective of the minions.
It's exciting to see the conflict from an entirely new angle.
It offers a fresh look at such a massive event.
Since this is a huge war, and we obviously didn't get to see everything,
it's fascinating to explore what was happening simultaneously
in other parts of the battle.
The animation this season looks noticeably different. While it was still handled by Powerhouse Animation like the first season, much of the work was also outsourced to other studios overseas.
Because Powerhouse was busy juggling multiple projects at the same time,
the minions are able to see through the eyes of owls, using them to spy on people and gather information. In mythology, owls are usually linked to Athena,
the goddess of wisdom and warfare.
But the Screech Owl specifically has ties to Hades, so it's not entirely out of place for him and his followers to use owls in this show. Screech owls were seen as bad omens
and were often connected to the underworld.
Two of the minions fight the automatons built by Hephaestus, while the third sneaks into the temple. In the previous season,
we saw how much Heron struggled to defeat just one automaton.
So it's clear that these minions are highly skilled in combat. Their coordination and strength really show just how dangerous they are.
The moment when Alexia and Athena exchange a nod is a powerful and memorable scene, one that conveys mutual respect, hard-earned through battle and shared experience.
Heron and Alexia share a heartfelt conversation. Alexia expresses that it's an honor to fight alongside him, and she always knew he was different. It's a touching bonding moment between them, and it gives viewers the sense that there's a deeper connection, making those who see them as a couple feel even more invested in their relationship.
Zeus orders Hestia and Athena to retrieve the stone, since they can't risk it falling into Hera's hands. It's great to finally see Hestia, since she didn't appear at all in Season 1.
Hestia's character design really stands out.
The golden and orange armor, long dark red hair, and garnet-colored eyes all perfectly reflect her connection to fire. It's a strong look that gives her an immediate presence among the gods. It's always interesting to see how different movies and shows based on mythology choose to portray the same character.
Each adaptation brings its own style, tone, and creative vision, which can lead to wildly different versions of the same god or goddess. For example, Hestia's persona in this show is a calm, regal presence fitting for the goddess of the hearth and home. But in Dan Machi, also known as Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Hestia is portrayed as a bubbly, energetic character with a much more playful and modern personality. These contrasts show how flexible mythological figures can be and how much room creators have to reimagine them to fit their stories. Hestia is brought to life by a seasoned and highly respected voice actress with a strong track record in both animation and video games. Her performance adds warmth and emotional depth to the character, capturing Hestia's essence as a gentle, caring goddess and protector of hearth and home. She also lends her voice to several other roles throughout the series, including Ariana's sister in Season 1, as well as the Furies and Themis in Season 3.
Zeus tells Athena to make sure that Hestia gets off the mountain safely.
It makes perfect sense that Zeus would rely on Athena to come up with a plan.
As the goddess of wisdom and strategy,
Athena is known for being smart and able to think clearly in tough situations. Trusting Athena to lead the way shows how much the gods respect her judgment and strategic mind. Alternatively, Zeus could have sent Hermes to move the stone.
With his super speed and ability to turn invisible, Hermes could have easily done it without anyone noticing.
But it's also nice that the show gives the other characters some screen time, especially since Hermes already had a lot of focus in the first season. This way, more characters get a chance to shine, and the story feels diverse.
Athena doesn't get too much screen time in this show overall,
but that's because the writers have plans for a Medusa spin-off series
where she'll have a bigger role, similar to how Zeus is front and center in this one.
It would be really exciting to see Athena take the spotlight. Since Athena is central to Medusa's story,
it'll be awesome to see her in a more prominent role.
Netflix has yet to officially greenlight the Medusa series, but some early details shared by the writers offer an intriguing look at what's planned. Notably, Medusa won't be portrayed as a traditional villain. Instead, her story will focus on themes of revenge and justice, with her powers serving as tools of empowerment rather than fear. In this version, it's Athena who grants Medusa her powers, not as a punishment, but as a weapon, which is a significant departure from the usual mythological narrative. This twist adds a fresh dynamic to their relationship and hints at a more complex, possibly redemptive arc for both characters. Athena uses a spear and shield, which is accurate to her portrayal in Greek mythology. These weapons symbolize her role as both a protector and a fierce warrior. In the Temple of Zeus, there's a giant statue of him, which is a reference to the legendary statue of Zeus at Olympia. The renowned Greek sculptor Phidias crafted this iconic statue around 435 BC, and it was recognized as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The minion sets off a trap and is immediately attacked by a group of stone guardians. The fight scene is intense, with the sound design really adding to the chaos and tension. Hestia enters the temple and mentions that she's a virgin goddess, which is accurate to her role in Greek mythology. She chose to stay pure and never married or had any romantic relationships. Instead, Hestia focused on keeping the hearth fire burning and looking after the home and family. In mythology, Hestia's role was more peaceful and calm compared to the other deities, and her choice to stay a virgin showed her dedication to her duty and her desire to avoid the drama of Mount Olympus. Hestia retrieves the stone and places it in a bag for safekeeping. Then she meets Athena outside the temple. Athena tells Hestia that they need to move swiftly, marking the first time she speaks in this show. This is a big moment, since she didn't have any speaking lines in season 1 and was just a background character. Athena's voice actress fits the character well. She gives Athena a strong and confident voice that matches the goddess's wise and fearless personality. Her tone carries authority, making it easy to believe she is someone that others would follow into battle and trust for advice. Athena tells Hestia that they'll descend from the west even though they're actually heading south. By doing this, the sun will be at their backs, helping to disguise their descent. It's a clever tactic, showcasing Athena's wisdom and strategic thinking in action. Hestia has literal fire powers, which is fascinating to see on the screen. In Greek mythology, Hestia's connection to fire was more symbolic, representing the hearth and the warmth of home. In this show, however, her powers are brought to life in a more direct and tangible way, adding a unique twist to her character. Hestia's fire powers are similar to superheroes like the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four, who can control and create fire at will. The minions can shoot shadowy arrows from their hands, which is a special and intriguing ability. The dark, mystical nature of these arrows adds to their ominous presence, emphasizing their connection to the underworld. The minions receive aid from the Kyries, the fearsome eaters of the dead. These are indeed from Greek mythology, where they're depicted as bloodthirsty death spirits who haunt the battlefields and feed on the deceased. They're daughters of Nyx, the goddess of night. Their sinister presence adds a terrifying element to Greek myths about war and death. The character design is really creepy, perfectly capturing their role as dark spirits of death. Their unsettling appearance adds a spooky vibe that fits well with their menacing nature. It's interesting how the show includes lesser-known figures from Greek mythology too, not just the popular ones like Zeus and Athena. It makes the world feel richer and more lived in. It also introduces viewers to characters they might not have heard of before, making the story more thrilling. The Kyries attack Hestia, and she's forced to fight them on her own. One of the coolest parts of the scene is seeing Hestia use her ability to fly, which adds an extra layer of excitement to the battle. It's a stellar action sequence, as Hestia not only has to defend herself, but also protect the stone from falling into enemy hands. The stakes are high, and the fast-paced combat makes it one of the standout moments in the episode. The stone can enhance Hestia's powers. Since the stone is an original creation for the show, the writers have the freedom to shape its abilities and role in the story however they want. This opens up captivating possibilities for both the plot and character development, especially as we see how it affects Hestia in these key scenes.
Hestia kills an owl that was following her. Fortunately, Athena wasn't around, as killing an owl in ancient Greece was a serious insult to her. Hades scolds his minions for failing to retrieve the stone, making it clear that mistakes like this are unacceptable.
Hades even tortures one of his own minions to get information out of him.
It shows just how ruthless Hades is and how far he's willing to go to get what he wants.
Athena and Hermes team up to rescue Heron, and it's wonderful to see them working together. Since all three are
are children of Zeus, there's a natural connection between them, and the moment feels like a strong family alliance in action.
Artemis's battle attire is truly impressive.
She wears a crown made up of 3 crescent moons,
which is a symbol closely tied to her identity as the goddess of the moon. Additionally,
she has a crescent moon pin,
further emphasizing her connection to the moon. Artemis wields a crescent moon-shaped bow, which is fitting for the goddess of the hunt and protector of wildlife.
She also wears a sash, showing the moon's phases.
In mythology, Artemis is sometimes described as having blonde hair, pale skin, and silver eyes.
In the show, however, she has tan skin, white hair, and purple eyes.
It's a creative take on the character that gives her a fresh and unique look.
Gaia communicates with Heron through his dreams.
In Greek mythology, dreams often act as a link between the mortal and divine worlds.
Gods and goddesses frequently use them to send messages.
Gaia's voice actress fits the role perfectly, bringing a sense of age, wisdom, and calm strength
that suits the character well.
Gaia informs Heron that in order to save Seraphim,
he must recover the sword that Zeus forged for him, creating a clear and urgent goal that gives the characters a focused mission for their journey.
Since Heron and Seraphim are original characters, the writers have the flexibility to shape their stories without being tied to any pre-existing myths or expectations. This allows for more creativity in how the characters develop, grow, and interact with the world around them.
They can make decisions that are unique to the story being told,
rather than being limited or constrained by established lore. Hestia flies to the island of Crete,
which is a place of immense importance in Greek mythology.
It's famously known as the site of the legendary labyrinth, a complex maze designed by the master craftsman Daedalus to imprison the fearsome Minotaur. The island is also closely connected to the story of Icarus,
who attempted to escape Crete with his father using wings made of feathers and wax.
His tragic flight is one of the most enduring myths,
reflecting the perils of unchecked ambition and the consequences of defying natural limits. Placing part of the story here connects the narrative to a deep and vibrant mythological history. Gaia's character design is truly remarkable and precisely reflects her role in mythology. Her skin made of white rock symbolizes her connection to the earth itself,
as she is the primordial goddess of the earth in Greek mythology.
The long strands of green pods in her hair represent life and growth, tying back to her role as the mother of all living things.
There are also several unused character design concepts for Gaia, which makes it especially interesting to see what they ultimately decided on in the final version.
Comparing the early ideas to the finished design gives you a sense of how the character evolved and what qualities the creators prioritized in the end. Gaia says that power always attracts the worst and corrupts the best,
which is a great reference to a similar quote from the show Vikings. It reflects on how power can corrupt even the most noble individuals
and draw in those with darker intentions.
This quote captures the dangerous allure of power.
Hades returns home to the underworld, and the presence of clouds adds a creative touch to the scene.
It gives a fresh spin on how we usually imagine the realm of the dead.
Hades knocks over a vase. You can spot Gaia and the giants on it. It's a marvelous detail,
especially since vases in ancient Greece often featured scenes from mythology,
including depictions of famous battles and legendary creatures.
This subtle touch not only adds authenticity to the scene, but also ties into the rich visual storytelling of Greek art.
Hades says that Hestia took the stone to Mount Ida, which is an important location in Greek mythology. It's one of the places that's considered to be the birthplace of Zeus, and where his mother, Rhea, hid him to protect him from his father, Kronos. Gaia has taken the stone to the hidden realm, which isn't part of traditional Greek mythology. This adds an enthralling concept to the story, as it introduces a new, mysterious location that wasn't explored in the original myths. By creating this hidden realm, the writers expand the mythological world in a way that brings fresh depth and intrigue to the narrative. The hidden realm in the show bears a strong resemblance to the Otherworld found in Celtic mythology. The Otherworld is a magical, frequently unseen dimension that coexists with our reality. It's a place where gods, spirits, and the souls of the dead reside. It's not bound by the rules of time or space, and can sometimes be accessed through specific portals or sacred locations. Similarly, the hidden realm in the series is portrayed as a secret, magical dimension that few can enter. This
This parallel highlights how different mythologies share recurring themes of unseen worlds that influence the mortal realm, often serving as the backdrop for spiritual journeys or encounters with higher beings. The writers choosing to incorporate elements from other mythological traditions into a story rooted in Greek mythology is a thought-provoking choice. Rather than staying strictly within the boundaries of Greek myths, they weave in aspects from different cultural traditions, adding a unique layer of richness to the narrative. This approach not only expands the mythological framework of the story, but also encourages the audience to explore how various traditions can intersect in meaningful ways. What makes this even more compelling is that it's not a one-time occurrence. We see further examples later on, suggesting that this blending of mythologies is a deliberate narrative strategy. Persephone comes up with a new plan to use Seraphim, since he's part giant and can enter the hidden realm. Hades places coins on Seraphim's eyes. However, as explained in the video for Season 1, the coins should go in or on the mouth of the deceased, not the eyes. This practice, known as Chiron's obol, was a key part of ancient Greek funerary customs. The coins were meant as payment to Chiron, the ferryman, to ensure a safe journey across the river Styx into the afterlife. The shift from mouth to eyes in modern portrayals is largely due to visual storytelling needs. Placing coins on the eyes is instantly recognizable and symbolic, making it a more effective cinematic device. It quickly communicates death and ritual to the audience, even without any explanation. Similar to what they did in Season 1, the end credits feature behind-the-scenes artwork, storyboards, alternate character designs, and more. It's a great bonus for audiences, providing a unique look into how the creative process unfolds. It showcases the hard work that goes into bringing the story and characters to life. This gives fans a deeper appreciation for the artistry and talent behind the show.
Episode 2, Weights and Measures. Heron experiences a powerful dream in which Gaia urges him to seek out Talos, recover a sword, and save his brother. This moment isn't just a plot device. As mentioned before, the use of dreams as messages from the gods is an iconic element of Greek mythology. Heron rises from his bed, a sense of unease still lingering from his dream. He quietly moves through the house to check on his companions. While most are asleep, Alexia remains awake, her instincts sharp as ever. She silently follows Heron, curious about his sudden restlessness. Outside, Heron stops and lifts his gaze to the sky, locking eyes with the full moon above. In Greek mythology, the moon held deep symbolic meaning. It was often associated with divine guidance, prophecy, and hidden truths. Heron's silent connection with the moon suggests he's standing on the edge of destiny, guided not just by dreams, but by celestial forces far greater than himself. Heron rides his winged horse and soars through the skies. He returns to the battleground where he once faced Seraphim in a brutal fight. The earth still bears the scars of their clash. As he lands and surveys the ruins, Heron is flooded with memories. Seraphim's voice echoes in his mind, tempting him with the promise of revenge, of overthrowing the gods and ending their reign forever. The bitterness in those words cuts deeper now, and Heron feels a storm building inside him. Fueled by anger and grief, he releases his fury in a thunderous eruption of lightning. The sky cracks open, and arcs of pure energy surge from his body in a breathtaking explosion of power, lighting up the night and obliterating everything around him. Alexia approaches quietly, her footsteps light against the rubble, as she watches Heron standing amidst the smoking wreckage of his outburst. She doesn't flinch at the sight of the destruction, and mentions that Seraphim got what he deserved. Heron agrees, but he remembers Seraphim's words, the bitter truth hidden in his fury. The gods, for all their power, are filled with flaws. Heron can no longer ignore the question rising inside him. If the gods are no better than mortals, then why should anyone obey them? The fates want to talk to Heron, but he refuses to listen to them. For now, he walks his own path, not the one they've chosen for him.
In the underworld, Hades appears before Seraphim, his presence cold and commanding. Hades offers a twisted kind of alliance. He speaks of betrayal, of how the same gods who ruined Seraphim's life also ruined his. He sees in Seraphim a weapon, a kindred spirit fueled by rage and loss. But Seraphim has heard it all before. He's done being used and done serving divine agendas that only bring more pain. He rejects the offer without hesitation. He would rather face eternal judgment than become another pawn to the gods. Seraphim is led through the underworld until he arrives at a vast ancient chamber where the judges of the dead await. He steps onto a stone platform. Seraphim's
Seraphim's ghostly form is reshaped. He becomes tangible once more, fully present for his reckoning. It's a creative twist on Greek mythology, where souls are usually judged as shades, drifting echoes of who they once were. Here, Seraphim must face judgment not as a wraith, but as the person he truly is, with all his pain, choices, and rage laid bare before the ancient law. Seraphim is presented before the three judges of the underworld, Rhadamanthus, Minos, and Aeacus. This is accurate to mythology. Aeacus judged the souls of European men. Rhadamanthus ruled over Elysium and passed a judgment on the souls of Asia. Minos held the authority of the final verdict. They embody the ultimate authority in the realm of the afterlife, ensuring that each soul is judged according to their deeds in life. Rhadamanthus recounts how Seraphim has sent more souls to stand before them than any other mortal man in history. So this means that Seraphim holds the grim distinction of having the highest kill count among all mortal beings. His legacy is one of ruthless efficiency. The 30 tyrants are mentioned. They were a group who briefly ruled Athens from 404 BC to 403 BC. Their time in power lasted only 8 months, but it was a period of great violence and fear. They had 5% of the Athenian population killed, took away property of citizens, and forced many supporters of democracy into exile.
Seraphim's bad deeds are weighed against his good deeds, his fate hanging in the balance. The use of scales is a powerful symbol of judgment. Souls are often judged by the balance of their actions, with the scales tipping in favor of either punishment or reward based on the weight of their deeds. This ancient practice reflects the belief that every soul must face the consequences of their life's choices, with each act, whether good or bad, being carefully measured. The scales offer a clear and unyielding method of determining one's fate in the afterlife. This scene is similar to Egyptian mythology, where the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth and justice. Anubis oversaw the process. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul was granted a peaceful afterlife. If it was heavier, the soul was condemned and devoured by Ammit. It's revealed that Seraphim had fallen in love with a priestess named Gorgo. He showed true philotimo toward her. This is a unique Greek concept, one that can't be fully captured in English, but it generally refers to a deep sense of honor, responsibility, and an instinctual desire to do good without seeking any reward. Rhadamanthus points out that even a man as cold and relentless as Seraphim was capable of showing such a pure and selfless devotion, demonstrating that despite his ruthless reputation, he was capable of deep emotional connections. This proves that even someone as merciless as Seraphim could still have meaningful relationships with others. Seraphim's bad deeds still far outweigh his good ones. Despite being given a chance to repent, he stubbornly refuses to do so. His pride and arrogance prevent him from admitting his wrongs, even though he knows that refusing to repent will lead to a much harsher punishment. Seraphim's inability to accept responsibility only deepens his fate, leaving him on a path toward even greater suffering. Seraphim wants nothing from the judges or Hades. No mercy, no favors. His judgment is passed, and he's condemned to Tartarus, where he'll suffer for all eternity. In Greek mythology, Tartarus is a deep, shadowy abyss located far below the earth and even beneath the realm of the dead. Tartarus functions as a prison for the wicked, the enemies of the gods, and the most dangerous beings in existence. Souls condemned to Tartarus suffer eternal torment for their crimes, often punished in ways that reflect their misdeeds. Before Seraphim is taken away, he's given one final chance to speak. He doesn't beg or plead. Instead, Seraphim lashes out. He calls the judges cowards, accusing each of them of their own hypocrisy. He criticizes Minos for feeding innocent youths to the Minotaur, Rhadamanthus for denying his people freedom, and Aeacus for failing to rule with true justice. With fire in his voice, Seraphim declares that everything he did was out of necessity, that in a broken, cruel world, he had no other choice.
Episode 8, The Three Trials. Apollo shows up to talk to Hermes, blaming her for what's happening, especially the ones he had with other women. Hera was known for her intense jealousy and hostility, like Heracles and Dionysus, so Apollo's suspicion feels justified. Apollo also adds that Hera knows he and his sister Artemis still hate her for trying to kill their mother. One of Zeus's lovers, Hera, furious about the affair, tried to prevent her from giving birth by forbidding any land from offering her shelter. Eventually, she found refuge on the floating island of Delos, where she gave birth to Artemis and then Apollo. So Apollo's bitterness toward Hera makes sense. She tried to prevent them from being born. This adds more emotional weight to the gods' divisions. Demeter being able to spy through the flowers is an interesting and creative showcase of her abilities. It ties directly to her role as the goddess of nature and agriculture, showing that her connection to the earth isn't just about growth and harvest, it's also about awareness and control. By using flowers as her eyes and ears, she turns something beautiful into a tool of surveillance, reminding us that even the most peaceful aspects of nature can be twisted for power. It's a subtle but effective way to show how far she's willing to go. Aphrodite finally speaks, marking the first time her character has actual speaking lines in the series. It's a significant moment, as it signals that she's stepping out of the background and starting to play a more active role in the story. Given her status as one of the major Olympian gods, her voice adds weight to the scene, and her presence suggests that the conflict among the gods is reaching a point where even those who've stayed quiet until now can't remain on the sidelines any longer. Demeter lies and pins all of the blame on Hades. It's a clear sign of how cunning and manipulative Demeter really is, just to protect her plan. By driving a wedge between Persephone and Hades, Demeter shows she still holds deep hatred for him, and is more than willing to exploit her own daughter's pain to get what she wants. Athena is able to spy through the eyes of an owl, which is a cool and fitting ability, since owls are closely associated with her in mythology. The owl is her sacred animal and a symbol of wisdom, even from a distance, and it adds a mythologically accurate touch to her powers. Seraphim arrives in the hidden realm. This setup fits well with Greek mythology, where heroes and mortals are often tested through trials or quests to prove their worth, each more difficult than the last. And Odysseus faced countless challenges on his journey home in the Odyssey. These trials weren't just about strength, they tested courage, cleverness, and perseverance, so giving Seraphim a series of challenges. Seraphim sees Gorgo, but he quickly realizes it's a trick. This moment shows that he's not easily deceived, able to see through illusions and emotional traps. It highlights Seraphim's awareness and mental strength, proving that he won't fall for distractions or manipulation, no matter how personal they seem. A hologram of Hecate appears and speaks to Seraphim, offering him a tempting choice. She could turn back time and let him change one moment in his life. He could save Gorgo from the treebender and build a life with her, or kill his uncle Acrisius and take the throne for himself. But Seraphim refuses. It's a powerful moment. He's not chasing what could have been. He's focused on what lies ahead. Someone with a weaker will might have fallen for the trap and failed the challenge, but not Seraphim. His resolve is strong. Where others might have been swayed by the promise of rewriting history, Seraphim stands firm, proving that his strength lies not just in his physical abilities, but in his determination to face the future, no matter how difficult. In Greek mythology, Hecate isn't traditionally known for having time travel or time manipulation powers, so offering Seraphim the chance to go back in time and change the past would fall outside the scope of her mythological abilities. This kind of power would more likely be associated with deities specifically linked to time, such as Kronos, the primordial embodiment of time. Seraphim also calls Hecate a witch god, which is fitting, as she's strongly associated with witchcraft in mythology. Known as the goddess of magic, the moon, and crossroads, she has long been linked to the practice of sorcery and the supernatural. Seraphim knows that a wise king must be able to let go of the past in order to move forward. Since he can't do that, it's a humbling moment for him, one that brings to light his understanding of his own limitations, but also the wisdom to know that growth often comes from letting go of past mistakes and burdens. This moment of humility shows that true leadership isn't about holding on to everything. Seraphim gets attacked by a dragon. These are part of Greek mythology, but they're a little different from the usual fire-breathing winged creatures we see in Western stories, making him a key figure in the famous myth of Heracles, who as part of his 12 labors had to retrieve the golden apples. The dragon in the show can breathe fire, which is a pretty common trope we see in many stories. Fire-breathing dragons are a staple in modern-day fantasy shows and movies. The dragon in the show is red, a color rich with symbolism, and sometimes danger or dominance. However, they can also symbolize protection and national pride. The red dragon, a powerful emblem of strength and resilience, appears on the Welsh flag, and is deeply rooted in Arthurian and Celtic legends. Every move is quick and thrilling. Seraphim's skills are put to the test as he faces off against the dragon, dodging flames and countering its powerful strikes. It's a battle full of tension and excitement, and just when it seems like the odds are stacked against him, Seraphim manages to outsmart and defeat the dragon with his bident. The moment he finally kills it is a satisfying payoff after all the danger, showing just how much he's grown in the heat of battle. Seraphim successfully completes the first challenge and moves on to the next one, but it feels like he actually faced two challenges here. First, he had to pass Hecate's test, which wasn't easy on its own. Then right after that, he had to fight and defeat the dragon. It's like he had to overcome both a mental and a physical trial, each testing him in different ways, so even though he's moved on to the next challenge. Heron, Alexia, and Kofi arrive at the cave. Heron confidently tells the Curites that he's the son of Zeus. To prove it, he shows them the ring, a symbol of his divine heritage. This moment is powerful because it's not just about Heron making a claim. It's about him stepping into his identity and embracing who he really is. The Curites, who are usually skeptical and serious, are taken aback, and you can feel the tension as they process the truth behind Heron's words. It's a turning point for him, marking a shift in how others see him, and how he starts to understand his own role in the larger story. Heron asks the Curities if anyone has entered the Hidden Realm, and just as expected they reply nobody has entered. However, the characters spot Seraphim's footprints, and immediately realize it was him who entered the Hidden Realm. Despite all his clever planning and trying to stay under the radar, Seraphim slipped up and left behind a clue he couldn't hide. It shows that no matter how carefully you try to cover your tracks, something can always give you away. Even the most calculated moves sometimes have small unexpected consequences. For the second challenge, Seraphim comes face to face with a Sphinx, a creature that appears in both Greek and Egyptian mythology. The most well-known Sphinx of Greek mythology comes from the story of Oedipus. In Egyptian mythology, the Sphinx is usually male, and symbolizes strength or protection. They don't have wings like the Greek Sphinx. The Sphinx in the show has a snake for a tail, adding a twist to its traditional appearance. In Greek mythology, sphinxes are usually depicted with a lion's body, a woman's head and eagle's wings, but not typically with a snake tail. It gives this version of the sphinx a more dangerous serpent-like quality, making it even more intimidating. The sphinx orders Seraphim to open a box, warning that doing so will force him to confront his deepest fear. This immediately brings to mind the most famous story in Greek mythology about a box, which is Pandora's box. In that myth, Pandora is given a box, or jar in the original version, and told not to open it, but her curiosity gets the best of her, and when she opens it, she unleashes all the evils of the world, leaving only hope inside. The story of Pandora's box carries several important lessons and messages. One of the main themes is the idea of curiosity, and the consequences of giving into it. Pandora, despite being warned not to open the box, succumbs to her curiosity, and in doing so releases all the evils into the world, things like disease, suffering, and greed. The myth serves as a reminder that some things are better left unknown, and there can be serious consequences when we act impulsively, or without thinking about the outcomes. However, there's also a more optimistic side to the myth. After all the evils are released, there's one thing left inside the box: hope. This suggests that even in the face of hardship and suffering, hope remains a powerful force. The myth can be seen as a reflection on human nature. While we may face struggles and challenges, there's always the possibility of hope that can help us endure and keep moving forward. In essence, the story of Pandora's box reminds us of the balance between curiosity, responsibility, and the enduring power of hope, even in difficult times.